Welcome to today's reading. Today's reading will be a simple message from Spirit. We have 3 piles to choose from. We have Group 1 with the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Tiger's Eye. We have Group 2 with the Neoteric Feminine Tarot and the Apatite. And Group 3 with the Runic Tarot and the Yellow Jasper. So you're welcome to take a moment to choose which pile you feel the most drawn to. Timestamps are in the description box so you can jump ahead to the group that you select. Welcome Group 1 to today's reading. Today's reading we are using the Everyday Witch Tarot and the Tiger's Eye to help ground this session. I do have to say as soon as I started shuffling the cards and pulling cards, I did start to feel a lighter, shallower breathing sensation in my chest. The feeling is kind of hard to explain, so I'll give you some examples of when I've experienced this feeling in the past. When I've drank caffeine or too much caffeine, when I've felt nervous, when I've been sleep deprived and strung out, more or less when like your nervous system is struggling, and it seems to be a little bit of a theme at the moment. So it's just something that I think a few people are experiencing. Moving on, so we have 3 cards that we've pulled. We have the 8 of Swords. This is like a feeling trapped when there is a potential to be able to leave this situation, although it might be hard to do so. The ability is there, and I know some people can say it can almost seem as if you're keeping yourself trapped, and I don't think this is something that we would be consciously aware of. I've had this message come up for myself before, and if you're newer to readings or to my readings, welcome to the world where these messages quite often have a dual meaning. So some of the things that can show up in a reading for you are things that I'm experiencing as well. So you're not alone. Not to mention there's a bunch of other people thrown in this collective who this message will resonate for as well. Please support each other in the comments by all means. That would be great, so that we can experience a sense of community together and people don't feel like they're the only ones struggling with this. And I'll tell you, like, quite often when I get this card, I can't tell if it's like ego or if I just sometimes feel like it doesn't really suit my situation. Most likely ego, right? Where I'm like, well, obviously if I could do something about the situation to help myself, I would. And I think the reality of the situation is that I can. It's just, for me, the choices that I have in how to help myself are not choices that I want to take. And that can make it tricky. It's just that thing where we really need to make some form of choice, okay? When I'm talking about this, I sort of think of like the 2 of Swords, because it's basically like you feel like you're damned if you do and you feel like you're damned if you don't. In reality, there is a way out. I do feel like part of the problem here has to do with other people trying to back you into a corner on purpose. And I'm not sure if this other person or other people or whatever this situation is, there is a sense of being caught between a rock and a hard place, but I'm not sure if whatever this is, maybe if it is a person or a group of people, are purposely trying to undermine your confidence to where you feel like you don't have a choice. Maybe they're trying to scare you a little bit or something like that. I think that's, to be honest, I think that message is only for like a really small group of people, and I'm not here to like scare people or anything like that. You'll know if that's for you. If you're even just hesitant or not sure if it is for you, just totally disregard that. You'll know if it fits for you, okay? But I do feel, regardless of whether there's, you know, people around or not that are contributing to this situation, that the message is that you are in general feeling caught between a rock and a hard place, where you do have limited choices or options available to you, and you may be feeling like you have to defend yourself or that you're looking for a way out. And for some of you, it may have come as a result of some type of victory, like maybe you've done something well, but then, yeah, I don't know, we're starting to get a bit muddled, so we'll leave that part of it. Moving on, it is just a case here where you need to be able to like sever ties with something to be able to move on. And when I say sever ties, that can be old relationships and letting things go. But for this reading, I get the particular sense of cutting your losses. So I do feel like one of the things that's holding you back at this point in time is because there is still a sense that there's actually something great and worthwhile here that you would lose by leaving this situation. But that same thing, even if you don't actually lose anything, the thought of that loss is what's causing you to stay stuck here. So in a sense, whether you do or don't lose something, you do need to be able to cut your losses so that you can actually move on from this place and you can actually do better and you can actually recover from this. I do get a sense here where I'm sort of seeing, I don't know if it actually happens in the other deck, but I'm seeing an image where the girl is in this pose, the same as she is in the Eight of Swords card, and all the swords are around her, but what I'm seeing is like crows or ravens or some sort of like black bird, like a swarm of them, a flock of them, I guess you would say for birds, all flying around her and almost like attacking her or taking swipes at her or scratching her as they fly past or something like that. So what I feel why that's relevant is because, or what the message is behind it is that the longer that you stay here, in essence keeping yourself trapped, the more damage you'll actually sustain during this time, inevitably making it harder for you to leave. So it's really a case of whether you may be damned if you do or damned if you don't, it's actually so much better for you to cut your losses and leave sooner than later, to minimize the amount of damage that you will receive during this time. And yeah, that's everything that okay. They're wanting me to point out that there's this little bird here on top of one of these swords, and that this little bird, the color's blue and her dress is blue, and there's like a little bit of blue on her broomstick there. What the blue is meaning to me in this card is it's a sense of hope. So maybe you are generally a hopeful or quite optimistic person, maybe even to the point of giving other people the benefit of the doubt so much so it was to your own detriment that you have done so in the past. We also see a little bit of this blue on the broomstick here. So just the same way that you may have once been a very optimistic or hopeful person in the past, and there's this symbol here in this bird, which to me is freedom. It's like a symbol a symbol for hope, for freedom. Freedom does exist. There is hope to be able to achieve it. This broomstick, which inevitably will be the thing that you would like get on and ride away, which will help you escape this situation in a sense or get you away from it. It'll basically be the tool that frees you outside of your own mind. It also has the blue on it with that symbology of like that hope of freedom, okay? For some of you it'll be hope, for some of you it'll be freedom, for a lot of you it'll be both. So just take that as that applies, okay? What I do want to say is that the bird, as much as it can be hope and freedom, as all these blue symbols are, it's like the bird is having faith. It's like the inspiration to know that it exists, and then it's having faith that it is possible. The broomstick seems to be like connecting to your intuition as a part, something to do, it's something with the broomstick has to do with how you'll actually leave this situation, but it also has some sort of connection to your intuition. Only you will know what that connection is. And the other part of it is with this blue dress here, it's a sense of you returning to a state of hope, of freedom within yourself. So once you're able to embody that energy and you're able to have faith that it's possible, it's like you'll be able to do something about it at that point, okay? So I guess there's an overall message here of trying to maintain this hope and faith of freedom being a very real outcome and possibility for you, okay? I do get a sense that even once you do get free from this, there will still be an element of like living in fear, or maybe it's still, even though you get free from this initial situation or circumstance, things may still be a little bit tough for a while, but inevitably you do actually totally cut cords with it. You do manage to, sever ties or completely free yourself so that you don't ever actually have to get back to this place again. Now, while we're on this topic, I'm feeling really drawn to the red. And it's kind of funny because when I picked the deck of cards that we were going to use today, it was this specific blue from the Everyday Witch Tarot, which is the tarot that we're using for this reading. And it was this very like bright red here on the archetype cards that I was seeing as well. So I'm glad that the colors between the cape being the red and the dress, the bird, and the broomstick having the blue have both actually really come through. So these are both really important. The blue, in another sense, relative to the chakras, will be your authentic self. And I feel like your authentic self is actually quite fierce and fearless, and you actually don't get scared of things quite easily. I just feel like this situation has had you pegged down or feeling like that for quite a while, to the point where you have actually become scared. Whether it's something, I don't doubt that your fear 100% is valid, whether it's something that you should be scared of or not, okay? And at the end of the day, I think that it's your fear that ultimately keeps you trapped and I guess keeps you in a state of survival, because once you do get free from this, although things don't get easier, like they will get a little bit instantaneously easier, there will still be a bit of a struggle for a while. It does eventually all go away. So it's like really that message, like hammering home that message of like having faith that it will and can get better, okay? I feel like this is really significant for some of you here, so please let me know if that's the case. Okay, moving on. So we want to take this archetype card. We have Artist. Before I even read the card, I just want to let you know, like, it's got the red again, which is great because these cards have different color borders on them. For the Artist, I'm intuitively getting that some type of like creative or artistic work is actually going to help ease and bring you out of this like root chakra fear energy. I guess not bring you out of a root chakra energy, it's like bring you out of a fear state to, I guess, assist your root chakra in a sense of healing. It's like whatever it is going to be kind of therapeutic for you, or take your mind off of it enough. Another thing that can sort of happen, right, is that maybe you don't have some crazy dire situation. This could actually be like some sort of mental rumination that is keeping you feeling like there's a sense of being trapped, right? And sometimes working with our hands can be a really good way to empty our mind, or to sort of free up our mind, because it's like we're using our hands, then that the mental load can ease off in a way because we're doing something. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it's a very real thing. So maybe it's less about the creative expression and more about the therapeutic, hands-on, practical side of it. And it is like a sense that can get you into a bit more of a flow state, and you can, it's just about relaxation really, I guess. I'm not going to worry about reading the card for that because I feel like the relative message was that intuitive nudge just then. Okay, so moving on, we also are going to take one of the red pieces of paper out of this box. So I don't know. Well, we don't. Okay, we're going to take the one that fell out. I've just had a second one fall out. I'm going to grab it as well. Although the green one's not the one that we were after. They both fell out, so that can... maybe there'll be different messages for different people here. We'll see. Okay. So the red message we got is your arms are the safest place in the world. I'm not going to read into this too much. This is not a relationship reading, although if you are in like a safe, respectful relationship and this person makes you feel safe, then maybe this is like a person that would be good for you to spend time with. And you know, it doesn't even have to be like a romantic relationship. If you have a family member or a good friend that just gives the best hugs or something like that, or you generally feel safe and respected in their company, maybe they would be a good person for you to spend time with at this point. Yeah. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, the second message that we got is, my love of this life is only half of the amount of love that I have for you. For some of you, it might have been leaving a relationship, and maybe that's why it's actually been quite hard for you to leave or move on from it. Even if it's not about the level of love that you have from them, I feel like leaving any sort of relationship behind can actually be quite disheartening. Now, we're also going to take a card from the tea leaf fortune deck. Just want to grab, it's a gigantic stack of cards to try to shuffle, but we're here and we're going to give it a go. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to split this deck in half, and we're going to take one from each side, and that way it should be a little bit easier to manage. Yeah. Okay, that's that one. Oh, we don't need it. Oh, cool. Okay, so we have taking a vacation, physically or mentally, and a path with money is waiting for you to find it. So I do feel that you won't find this path to money until you leave this old situation behind. There will be something resonating where that vibration that you're in when you're feeling stuck and trapped and everything, and you're working through these challenging times, is actually going to keep you at a different vibration to what you need to be at to step into this money path that they're referring to. And I think that taking a vacation physically or mentally would be a really good way for you to actually get there, or to help achieve some level of like clarity or relaxation or something like that. Like there may be this element of like vacation energy to either help you leave the situation, or maybe you leave it and then you feel you need to take the vacation to be able to sort of calm down from it all afterwards. For some of you, the vacation may be the way that you actually leave this situation, where you go on vacation and you're not coming back, okay? Take that as it applies. Don't try to make things fit that aren't yours. And I think we're done here. This is like an incredibly quick reading as far as the cards go. There is also that message here to ground where possible, or be in an outdoor nature setting, and that would be helpful. So, you know, if you can achieve that at the find that setting on vacation, even better, because it's like 2 for 1, right? Or 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, to touch on the tiger's eye, which was the crystal paired with this deck, the tiger's eye is like quite grounding and it's self-empowering as well. And this may be something that would be good for you to work with at this point in time if you're that way inclined. Granted that you don't need the crystal, you can definitely do a little bit of, spending time in that nature setting, and maybe trying some sort of like positive affirmations is something that I was just getting come through there. And I think that the most powerful ones will be the ones that come to you naturally, that if you sit down and have a think about it, or it comes through intuitively, that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, so I used to have terrible anxiety at a previous job. So the anxiety was because of the job, and every morning that I would like drive to work, I was in a state of fight or flight, and I would sometimes I would have panic attacks either before I would like even leave for work. So if that was the case, I'd call in sick that day so I wasn't driving. Other times I would have panic attacks once I got to work, but sometimes it would be on the way there. I would have to be really careful driving, and sometimes I'd have to pull over on the side of the road and just sort of sit with it for a little bit and breathe to get through it. Ideally, I should have left that situation sooner than I did, which I think is another message coming through here. So far, it's that generally, like, by the time that you start having panic attacks, I should have well and truly left so much longer, all right? So, like, if you're at that stage, you need to go, like, ASAP, like, as soon as you can, without, in the most kindest, compassionate way to yourself, where you actually have the ability to do so. Because if you're at that level state where you're so heightened, I understand anything can be overwhelming. And if you're connecting and resonating with this message, I just want you to know that I don't want you to push yourself in any way here that you're not comfortable with. Please use your own discernment in any of these scenarios that ever play out. These readings, it's going out to a general collective. It's the purpose or intention is not to scare people here. If you feel that you need more support than you currently have, please reach out to the appropriate professional. This is really just something that, it's like a relative insight, okay? So, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm sort of getting stuck on a tangent because it's almost like a level of minute like dissociation. So that might be something that you deal with as well. And if not the anxiety, then maybe the dissociation on its own. Anyway, the whole point of why I was telling that story to begin with was because I was talking about these positive affirmations. And so during that time of my life, one of the things that I used to do, and this is well and truly before I was on any sort of like spiritual or intuitive journey, and it was just something that I used to do because it was one of the only comforting things I could do in my situation, is that I would take quite deep breaths like into my heart center, and to really like fill up my lungs, like really expand them properly, and like deep slow breaths that were calming. And I would say to myself, my heart is light and strong. My heart is light and strong. And it was something that, that's not going to be helpful for everybody, but I feel like for most people, you'll find your own version, and that's just a very real example of what it could be. And it did actually used to calm me down quite a lot, and help return me to a natural state, okay, where the anxiety wasn't as bad. Okay, so we've got that. The other thing that I want to, what have we got here? They're just pointing out that if you do get in states like that, even if this is all on a gradient too for some of you people, or for some of the listeners here, some of you may actually be experiencing the things like panic attacks and whatnot on one end of the scale, and for others of you, it's maybe not like that at all. Maybe you just have a not a great day here and there, and these are things that would still be helpful for you, okay? But they're just reminding me to tell you that whenever these things happen or you get in these states, that it's that like mental note for you to take a quick vacation. So even if it's not that message about like going on a permanent vacation from your situation or something like that, it would be that mental note to go take 5 go sit down or go have a breather or go have a break or something like that, if and where you can. And that's going to really help ground you in that moment, okay? So positive affirmations, taking a vacation, whether it's a short and sweet one or a permanent one, spending time in the outdoor nature settings, and, you know, cutting our losses all seem to be, and then there was that like artistic or creative practice of some kind that could and should be pretty therapeutic for you. Others of you, gardening will be a great therapeutic tool. That's like using your hands, getting yourself out of your head, and that can still be quite creative as well with the way that you do things. And the last thing that I have to mention here is this Mookaite Jasper, which may be another crystal that you would be inclined to work with, and this is inevitably going to help you with achieving that sense of being grounded within yourself, okay? I can feel the energy light up in my feet as I'm holding this crystal. So for any of you are dealing with a situation that feels quite heightened or threatening, this may be a great one here, okay? And the tiger's eye was like grounded empowerment, okay? Grounded empowerment for the tiger's eye, and heightened situations, heightened levels of stress, feeling threatened for the Mookaite Jasper, okay? And you can see there's actually still quite a bit of yellow here throughout the Mookaite, so there's still that level of empowerment there as well. It just, you know, yeah, it just depends, I guess, which one you're drawn to the most. For some of you, the Mookaite Jasper will have a level of like motivation or more energy for you to actually execute the outcome of this situation. Okay, so this is everything that I have for you today, Group 1. I hope that this resonated and was helpful in some way. I do want to let any of you know that may have struggled with some of the background noise during this reading, that this will be a bit of an ongoing challenge for me to work around over foreseeably, maybe the next few weeks or month. I'm not sure how long it'll go for. We're having new pipelines and earthworks and everything put in across the road from our house, so it's a challenge that will probably be reoccurring for a little while, but hopefully not too long, and hopefully we're just able to get these messages out to the people that need to hear them. I trust that that is the case. Anyway, thank you for being here with me, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you all in another reading. Thank you. Stop these. Okay, welcome group 2 to today's reading. If you chose the Neoteric Feminine Tarot and the Apatite, then this is your message from Spirit. We have a few cards that I've just pulled. Actually, before we get into the cards, I do want to actually take the time to mention I was getting very mermaid vibes here. So if mermaids aren't something that you do resonate with, then maybe the colors that are, for me, are typically associated with mermaids, which can be like those blue, greens and purple sort of colors. For some of you, I'm hearing pink as well, but it's usually like the blue, green, purple, aqua sort of mix of colors. Okay, moving on. Well, actually, while we're on that topic, the Apatite that I've chosen is more of a dark bluey, almost green Apatite. It'll be a little bit hard to see in this light because it is a darker color stone. Okay, so starting off, I feel like there's some level of like competition within the people around you that you've been trying to avoid and evade, but you essentially end up having to compete whether you like it or not. Unsure as to what it is that the competition has surrounded. I do feel like you ultimately do come out on top. So it's like maybe it's something that you battle with for a little while and you do take action towards, and you do end up coming out on top and afterwards end up feeling actually quite fulfilled. So I guess this can be that sense here of knowing that you do have that capability and that you can do it, okay? So it's like a confirmation message here for you that you can do it. And sometimes not all that glitters is gold, but in this case, I think that it probably is. Yeah, and it's probably actually quite fulfilling to your heart. But also I feel like you do really well with it in some form of material sense, and I can't tell if that's like a skill building, a health or a financial thing. I think for some of you, this deck, whenever I use it, for me, can be more strongly associated with like a level of growth or finances more than some of the others. So material wealth could definitely be one coming through. But there's something here with this Nine of Cups I haven't picked up on that I just want to take a moment to see if I can get something come through. I was just getting like Vance Joy lyrics, and it was like your mess is mine. So for some of you, that may be a song that's helpful for you to listen to, or there's something within the title of your mess is mine that makes that, I don't know, I guess might resonate for some of you, okay? Don't make it fit if it's not the case. Okay, so we also have the Ace of Pentacles card here, which is to me signifying some form of idea that actually turns out to be quite fruitful. And there is a message here of you are the victor, but at what cost? So maybe that's something that you need to be mindful of on your venture. The other thing is I was actually getting quite annoyed and impatient with a lot of the noise going on in the background. But sometimes that feeling within myself can be a synchronicity for the viewers in the reading. So maybe there's something about this situation that's actually been extremely frustrating for you. And you've had to make sure that you are calm, cool, collected and grounded and level-headed during this stage. And that's actually what's going to help you come out on top here, okay? Where with this Five of Wands, I actually get that this is a lot more of that fiery energy, where there is the potential to actually lose our cool if we aren't, you know, grounded within ourselves, okay? But inevitably, your situation here, I feel like you're playing this out for the long term. So whatever you can do to actually support yourself during this time so that you don't lose your cool would be fantastic. And just, I guess, remembering, there is a sense here of like remembering where you came from as well. And I think that thought on its own will be quite grounding as well. But also trusting in your ideas, that they actually are good ideas. There's a strong validity, a validation to it, like they are really good ideas that will be fruitful. They're really well thought out. They're actually practical. They're going to be helpful. They're going to be nourishing in some sense, okay? All right, I love that all that noise just dropped off once I finally got that message out. So like maybe that stuff is like hard for you to listen to or hard to hear. Again, that weird synchronicity thing happening, it won't be for everyone, but for some of you it definitely will be. Regardless of what level of like frustration we have or how much we do or don't want to hear some messages, this is inevitably what they wanted me to pass on. Now, oh, there's something else. They're just saying to me again that not all glitters is gold, but sometimes it is, or for this time it is. So I don't know if you missed that beforehand because of a lot of the noise in the background, or if that was something that they're just really trying to drive home with you because maybe you don't believe that this idea is as good as it is or something like that. There's something that maybe you haven't taken action on yet, and it's inevitably going to be really wonderful for you. I think it's going to help you take out the competition, okay? So if you were looking for confirmation, this is it. We're also getting some of those mermaidy colors coming in the background of this card. So like the green, the more bluish tones, the purple, and even that little bit of a pink that they were mentioning there. Yeah. Whatever this is, it's like the golden idea. It's illumination as far as pentacles can go, so... Okay, that's, there's still more here. What is it that we need? They're just advising that you need to be well thought out, okay? So maybe you do have these ideas, but they need to be grounded into reality. They need to be integrated, so they do need to be well thought out and they do need to be practical. So as much as I said that I feel like this idea is already those things, you will need to pay specific attention to those areas to ensure that it is successful, okay? All right, so that's everything that I have for those cards for the moment. I am being highlighted for this group that the sodalite is actually has an extra message for you here. The sodalite can be, I guess, third eye or throat chakra. For me, this is going to be the third eye. I do feel like even if you don't particularly feel like a spiritual or intuitive person, that maybe you have a sense of nous or intuition within you. Maybe you just get like a gut feeling or something like that, or maybe you just get funny about certain things, like having to be a certain way and you can't explain where it comes from, but this is inevitably a sense of what it is where you just feel like you need to do something a certain way. This is what that sodalite is. It's like that following, it's that message for you to follow your intuition, okay? And of course, for those of you that are interested, it may be a good crystal for you to work with. The other side of it is remaining true to yourself and your true colors. And that will also help you bring this idea through to fruition in some way or build upon it. The other thing is they're also pointing out that this idea is as if it's come from the heavens or come down from the heavens themselves. So for some of you, it may be an idea that you have intuited, whether you realize it or not. And it's essentially, that's like, yeah, I guess that's spirit having your back, right? Okay, anything else? Oh, they want me to talk more about the sodalite. I'm not really sure what else I can say about it at this point in time other than I like it. So what I might try to do is just hold it and go quiet and see if I can pull a message through from it. Oh, they're just saying that you need to know to be yourself, like it's okay to be yourself, and that sometimes that in itself is where our intuition can come from, is through being ourselves. And it's like that sense of living in alignment, because maybe we are like an intuitive person, but we don't outwardly express it to the world or show our true colors for whatever reason. And this is like that message to embody it. For others of you, it's less about the intuition and it's more just that embracing your authentic self, and that will help lead the way for others as well, okay? Yeah, that's what we needed. Okay, there's more here with the Apatite. So I'm going to try the same. They're just saying be careful of like spoken words here. So I get a two-part message on it. The first is that make sure that the words that you speak come from a place of love. And the second part of the message is like words can be spells or a manifestation tool in essence. So make sure that you're speaking loving words, even if it's not about other people, even if it's just relative to you or your situation, where you speak with, I don't even want to say hope, because hope can in essence still be the fact that we don't have the thing, but almost like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I actually am good enough, or I do have the skills, or I do have the ability to learn, and it's actually going to be great. It's going to be fruitful, and it's like you're speaking it into existence, okay? So that's what the message was there for those two. We are going to take an archetype card here as well and just see if there's some extra messages or something we can expand on. I do feel for this group that you're probably a bit more grounded or earthy or concerned with earthly matters than like sometimes what the other groups are. Like maybe you're a bit more grounded in reality or something like that. Some of you may actually be earth signs, and if anybody has some strong Virgo in your chart, Virgo, I have heard it commonly referred to as the martyr. I am Virgo Sun, and I have multiple, I think I have like 3 Virgo placements in my chart. I can't remember what the others are, but we're going to read both attributes here. So the light attribute is learning the transcendent nature learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. And the shadow attribute is addiction to self-pity. I don't feel like this card, the attribute listings here on this card do it justice for this particular reading. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this being a martyr. Whether you have Virgo placements or not, or whether you feel like you're being a martyr or not, it may be you or someone in your energy or something like that. And remember, this all happens on a gradient. So, you know, for some of you, it may be that stereotypical martyr. And for others of you, it may have just been like one particular thought that's been on repeat that you've been having that somehow ties into this energy. I do want to actually point out while I'm at it, not that it's an earth sign, which is I'll elaborate more on shortly, but this Y on this card looks like the Aries symbol to me, or glyph. And so I do wonder if that's going to play in here as well somewhere. Now, so one thing at a time. So we're going to talk about the martyr card first. The way that I experience this is like, for me, Virgo and maybe other placements that I have made me a very loyal person. And when I was younger, it more often than not was to my own detriment. I guess what I'm trying to say is that my intention was never to be the martyr. I inadvertently wound up being the martyr. And it was something that nobody else could change except me, because the people that were not treating me well were never going to change how they were treating me while I continued to accept that behavior. I really needed to learn to have boundaries during this time. So, and I guess what it is sorry guys, there's so much noise happening today. And maybe for some of you, it can be like really hard to take these things in because there's like so much actually going on for you. Yeah. Okay, now that it's calmed down a bit, I'm gonna, we're gonna clear the air a little bit here and just use some Palo Santo to help like clear it up, because I just feel like this is becoming increasingly tricky to navigate through this energy. And I would really like it if we can get these messages streamlined for everybody so that they can understand what I'm trying to say, or what the message is for them relative in this reading. Okay, so the martyr, anyway, basically going back to the martyr, in the end, it ended up being something that only I could help, and I guess I was scared to lose these people, so I would rather keep them, even if it meant keeping not great behavior or treatment towards myself. I ended up needing to actually grow some boundaries so that I could actually free myself from being the martyr, okay? God, that come out so much easier than what I was trying to get out before. The other thing is, for some of you, you may be doing too much for other people. So maybe you don't have people necessarily treating you in a not great way. Maybe, well, I guess it still can be that in a different way where they're just letting you do everything for them. Maybe for some of you, it's not that people are being particularly nasty to, but they're essentially taking you for granted or letting you do the work for them, and you need to pull back. Okay, so that would be like a strong message as well. And I do feel, I was trying to work out what this little like Aries symbology that I was being highlighted was going to be in reference to, and I actually think it's the fact that like Aries won't take shit and they are quite determined. So it's like they're not going to be the martyr, okay? They're kind of like that medicine to this like martyr energy. Yeah. But I do feel predominantly there's a lot of earth in this group as well, regardless. For some of you, there was that message of like having to ground these ideas into reality. For some of you, there's some level of like elevation or inspired action that needs to elevate this practical idea that you have to really like, I don't even want to say sell it. For some of you, it may be selling it, but for some of it may be like providing an offering that is actually what people want, okay? So you may do the same thing as for some of you, you may make candles, for the lack of a better idea right now, and maybe your candles are fantastic, but you need to find a way to offer this to the world in which people see it and go, oh yeah, like they can see the value, like, oh, that is actually really great. And yeah, okay. So I feel like we've got our point across there. There's just one more card that I want to take. I'm going to take a card from the tea leaf fortune. Oh, Jesus, not that many. I'm going to put these back because way too many came out just then. And we're going to try again. There we go. That's still too many. We're going to take the one that landed on the counter. We have broken bridge with unsuccessful outcome to a problem. So maybe this is something that you've actually tried before and been unsuccessful with. Maybe not your whole endeavor, maybe just like different obstacles that have come up as you've gone. And I just feel like with all this like pentacle energy here, you're literally like, you're learning, like your skill building around whatever this issue is, okay? I'm getting drawn back to this idea. So it's like maybe other unsuccessful outcomes in your life are essentially helping improve the evolution of whatever this new idea is that you're having come through, or whatever this offering is that you have to put out to the world, okay? So maybe you haven't had a particular failure with this actual idea or offering. Maybe you've had these unsuccessful outcomes to other things in life and you're applying that skill and knowledge to this situation. Okay. That's everything that I have for you today, group 2. Thanks for sticking with me through this if you managed to be able to. I hope that this was actually helpful and resonated for you, and I'll see you all in another video. Thank you. Group 3, welcome to today's reading. If you chose the Runic Tarot and the yellow Jasper, then this is your message from Spirit. We have 4 cards that I've chosen with the Queen of Wands, the High Priestess, the Hierophant, and the 2 of Cups. Not only is 3/4 of the cards that we've pulled here is actually major arcana, but they're all really lovely cards, especially in conjunction with each other. And the crystal that we've chosen here with the yellow Jasper, this is like really grounded, solid empowerment. So it's like, I want to say it's like you're full of yourself in the best way possible, where it's like you have really grounded, solid self-worth, where it's subtle though, where it's not over the top, it's not cocky, it's not too much. It's like the perfect amount of I don't even know, like it's just, your self-worth is perfect. Like, I don't even know a better compliment or a better thing to achieve in life other than to just be happy with where you're at, and understand yourself quite clearly in a really grounded way. This is beautiful. Now, the cards that we have, so we're starting off with the Queen of Wands here. So this is very much in your element, in your power, knowing what you want, knowing who you are, knowing how to achieve it and what to do to get there. But I also feel like you're actually really like in control of your emotions. And what else? I just feel like you're really empowered and you have really good like willpower. Like you have the ability to make things happen here for yourself. Okay, so I guess I just feel like you have really good self-worth and really good willpower, where you actually have the ability to make things happen for yourself, which is lovely. At the same time, you may be on some sort of creative pursuit. For those of you that this doesn't actually resonate with any sort of creative purpose here, it's like that ignition of passion or drive within yourself, for whatever the situation is. I do feel for some of you, may be fire signs or have maybe not like a fire sign in sun placement, but like maybe other placements in your chart. For some of you, you're just in this energy of the element fire. And when you feel this energy of fire, if it's not something that you're used to, it would be fantastic if you can find a way to like ground it in your heart. While I was holding this card, I did see a different deck I haven't actually gotten out for today's reading, so I'm going to go grab that really quickly. Now, I did see a card from the deck, and it was the air element. And of course, if there's like too much mental activity, air can fuel the fire. So maybe for some of you, you just need to maintain a level of clarity where you don't let any sort of mental rumination take over, so that you don't actually lose your cool. But inevitably, I feel like this is something that you already know or are aware of and well practiced at maintaining, okay? We've actually just had the Taurus card come out, so that's quite grounded earth energy here. But I don't feel like, maybe the Taurus will resonate with the level of determination, but I actually think that that's a message to maintain that sense of being grounded, which will be really important throughout all of this. There is something else here I've missed though. I'm getting a message here that their possessions will lead them astray, so I guess it's to not lose sight of what really matters, because I don't, yeah, I do feel like whatever it is that lights you up on the inside, or makes you have this like passionate drive, is not going to be these like material possessions that you may have been really fixed on lately or something like that. That's just a bit of a bizarre message coming through for some people, but I am also hearing it's like really healthy masculine energy here as well. So I don't know, this is not gender specific, that everybody has like a feminine and masculine, you know, energy within themselves. And I just feel like you have quite a healthy masculine energy, which is really lovely to experience, because not everybody does, or not a lot of people do. Ultimately, this is actually going to really help you by staying grounded and keeping a hold over, you know, that like bubbling fire inside. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why that came out like that. Maybe that resonates for some of you, but it's like if you're able to maintain that like grounded clarity, that helps keep you in your power, in your element, in like a nice way, that will actually really help you step into a more intuitive, knowing, wise place where you're able to make really good decisions. I'm still getting like grounded as a theme, but in the back of this High Priestess card, we actually also have, I can't remember the name of the animal. I'll see, where is the book here? I think it's a bison is what they refer to it as, so that makes sense. The bison and the Taurus here, this symbol is really significant for some reason. I just can't tell what it is. I think it's that, to be honest, I think it's the reminder to like really stay grounded, okay? So where you can, being grounded is going to be your key to all of this. But it's like you're able to bring something through where you essentially become illuminated or are looked up to in some way, shape or form, or maybe in essence you become a teacher or follow some level of tradition. I feel like it's less about tradition and more about being looked upon as a person of influence, okay? I am also getting here the message with the Taurus card of persistency. So it's like you have to be persistent, you have to maintain that drive, and you have to maintain being really grounded and not losing sight of, you know, with the material possessions, okay? Yeah. Okay. And inevitably, I feel like you either find or attract some sort of other love here in your life. It doesn't have to be a person. You may find ultimate fulfillment within some sort of passion, in some sort of like hobby or something else in your life. And for others of you, may actually be attracting in a long-term love of your life person for you. So that would be really interesting. Of course, some of you may already be in relationships. So like I said, it doesn't have to be a relationship. For others of you, it may be a different one, but I don't feel like there's any ending of a relationship here. This is just something that you're coming into, okay? So take that as that applies. Don't give it too much weight if it's not your actual scenario. For some of you, I do feel like this may not actually be your pile. So at this point, if what I've said so far doesn't actually resonate with you, this may be a good time to either go back and try to choose a different pile or maybe a different reading, and see how that goes. Yeah. I feel like time's really precious to this pile and always sort of has been for group 3. So I just don't want to waste anyone's time, that's all. We're being drawn back to this Taurus card here. There's something else. I'm just hearing the illuminated Taurus can be powerful. So maybe for some of you do resonate with that Taurus energy, or maybe Taurus placements, or maybe, yeah. I think it's that level of having that like integrated, grounded, intuitive connection where it's kind of like the High Priestess. What am I trying to say? It's like things coming in all of these cards. There is something coming in through the crown, from above to down below, and I don't see any grounding whereas the Taurus will be the thing that ties it all together and grounds it all into reality, okay? Maybe for some of you, you've been, and there's, you know, there's like these illuminations in each card as well, okay? There may be like a lot, you may be having a lot come in or receiving a lot, for the lack of a better word, like messages or downloads or some sort of like intuitive stuff coming through, and you may have a lot, like it might actually be overwhelming and a little bit off the chart here. You've got to find ways to keep it grounded. For some of you, it may be like a really high vibrational energy coming through and you don't know what to do with it and you need to actually ground out. This is a bit of a bizarre message, but I think for some of you, if you do work with crystals, you need to be working with like the lower chakra crystals to help ground anything out. I mean, you would only work with lower chakra crystals if you were trying to ground anyway, but I would avoid crystals that aren't from the lower chakras. To be fair, I'd even go as far as saying maybe don't work with crystals for this point in time, if that's something that you do tend to be drawn to, because I feel like it would still be too high vibe or you would be too sensitive to it. And a lot of the colors, like in this Taurus card, although it's predominantly orange, I do feel like there is hints of like, you know, reds and browns and a little bit of, maybe not so much yellow, but it's mostly like orange, reds and browns. And even in this Queen of Wands, she's wearing like a red dress, and that in itself is like coming from a place of being grounded. It's like you need to maintain this sense of being grounded. I don't know how else I can say it. Yeah. This is a really weird message. This is not going to be for many people. For some of you, there's like a feeling here of being called to work with bone. And when I say this is going to be weird, but like, I don't know. This is something that like a person bought for us, that happens to be bone, and that's the only reason why I have anything bone. Not encouraging people to go do any weird shit or like dig up graves to get bones. But it might not be the fact of necessarily physically having a bone. It might actually be a case of working with or in envisioning or the energy when you're in a meditative practice of some kind. I'm just having it highlighted in a couple of these cards where it's like these cups or horns are basically like hollowed bone. On her head there's these antlers. The bison obviously has the horns as well, but on top of the High Priestess's staff, she actually has a skull and bones on it as well. And today we actually bought the bone out. For those of you that you want something physical and you're not prepared to do like an envisioning meditation of some kind, wood will be your next best thing, because we actually have a couple elements here of wood as well. Okay. For others of you, I actually feel like animals are going to be really important as well. So if you have any pets, I think your pets will help keep you grounded as well. We're going to have a look at the rune in this Queen of Wands card. I actually have found, where is it? Oh, it's not even a blind rune, is it? Okay. Let's go. What is the Queen of Wands? Sorry guys, we'll get there one day. Okay. Take joy in handling your destiny. In your destiny. So I did mention that I feel like she is quite determined, but she's also quite grounded in life and in the present moment, and joy can be a wonderful way to achieve that. So and it's also filling up on those things that really do light us up, okay, inside as well. So I feel like that's that message just being confirmed there. We are going to take a tea leaf card as well and see what we get come through. Just bear in mind, I'm not shuffling with the whole deck here. I'm only using half of it because it's a gigantic deck. I don't have hands big enough to do that. So, I mean, there's still divination even in half a deck, right? We're just going to see what card we get pop out. There we go. Bell. So we have an announcement coming up, and I wonder if this is you making an announcement or an announcement about you, or if it's the fact that whatever you're doing is like an announcement in itself, even if it's not a quite literal announcement. Maybe other people are noticing you heavily during this time. I mean, not this energy, but what I'm having show up in the cards here is like incredible. So I do think that you'd be sending off some sort of like alarm bell, for the lack of a better term, to other people, whether you realize it or not. Maybe not an alarm bell, maybe you're just like really attracting people or getting their attention. I think that's what it is. It's like you're getting people's attention, you're commanding attention without even trying or realizing. Now we also have the child wounded card. I'm just going to read both attributes here. So we have awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path for forgiveness. I feel like that's very key. And blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wound. No, okay, it's definitely the light attribute for this group here. So it's like there's definitely the passing on of knowledge, and there's definitely like, you know, taking ownership and responsibility of your life. And that recognizing you can still be incredibly powerful, if not more, through the lessons that you've already learned from the cards that you were dealt, okay? Whether they were good or not, you are in your power, and you are like, you're going, I don't even know how to get this out like with the words right now, because it's so like profound. It's like you, there's no way you can't do well. You're going to kick ass. I'm going to try not to say bad words on YouTube. You're just 100% in your power, and no one can stop you. You're going to do great things, like with whatever. I don't know. This energy is incredible. No one can stop. I'm just getting something about like your is it formidable? You're formidable. It's like you're a wrath, like, and it's not like you're coming after people or anything, but it's just like people would never even challenge you because of the power that you hold within yourself. And I think that if anybody did try to challenge you, they'd very quickly like realize, you know, what that's all about. There's something else here with this announcement, but or it's like you're catching other people's attention. I think it's just this you being in your, like, in this energy of empowerment within yourself. And there's this level here of like, you know that you are, and you're not giving yourself anything bar the respect that you deserve. And it's sort of calling people to step up or step out. Okay. Yeah. All right, is that everything? Yeah. All right, that's everything that I have for today's reading, group 3. I hope that this was actually helpful and resonated in some way. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in another reading. Thanks.